saw a video, I'm like, you're not in fucking caving here, that's just awesome. Dylan and Dean both playing?
Yeah, Dean was up there.
He is?
Playing Thursday. Dylan's playing.
As in injuries or? Really? Where are you living?
Yeah, we're at where is it? Bye, Peter.
Alright.
See you.
See you next weekend.
I'll potentially see you Friday first.
Yeah, I'll be here Friday.
What time's that? 6.
6:30.
30.
Thanks. Yeah, see you there, mate.
Click me details of Melbourne just in case.
Just in case.
So just so I have evidence to go to my lawyer of mine. You doing this game as well?
Well, a very good afternoon, and if you're rejoining us, welcome back. If you're just joining us for the first time, a very warm welcome indeed to Plume Park here in Lisarow for the second of this evening's doubleheader. It is, of course, the Football New South Wales League One Women's Match of the Round. It's a replay of the 2023 League One Women's semi-final. It's the Central Coast Mariners playing host to Hills United. Pete Pryor with you on the call for Football New South Wales. An absolute pleasure to have your company wherever it is you may be watching from. I'm just waiting on confirmation of some of the team news to flow through, but we can bring you the starting 11 for Hills United. Of course, Nicola Simmons in goal, Aisling Davidson the 3, 6 is Brooke Hasty, 7 Gemma Woolley, 8 Bella Donaldson, 10 Bianca Galliani, 12 Jess Wooten, 13 Helena Berridge, 14 Ellen Rosenberg-Chemazar, 15 Townsend Buchanan, and 17 former Mariner herself, Rachel Glendenning. The Mariners come into this one off the back of a very strong 4-1 victory away to Blacktown Spartans. Although, in saying that, these sides did meet less than a week ago in Sapphire Cup action. Hills United running out 2-0 victors on the evening. Hills United last result in League One Women's as well was, of course, a 2-0 victory. That one over Bankstown City. And they are flying high atop the table at the moment. The Mariners looking for 3 points tonight to potentially take themselves inside the top 3. 90 minutes of action. It is Hills United to get us underway. They will be kicking from left to right on your screens. Donaldson into the channel for Wooten. Wide here is Glendenning. Doesn't have the beating of the Mariners defender though. Hooked clear as far as Davidson, the captain, who gives it the big up and under. Rising there is Galliani. Woolley. Now Galliani again. Woolley. Trying to burst into the area, of course. We can look to bring you an update on that Mariners lineup, of course, as we just see how this plays out. The ball into the channel here for Gemma Woolley. Not too far ahead in the end. Starting in goal, of course, for the Coast, Kiara O'Brien. The 3 is Tegan Jones, 4 Jordan Drysdale, 5 Liza Familton, 6 Peyton Scollay, 8 Natalia O'Driscoll, 11 Claire Denning, 13 Annalise Brewster, 19 Ava Moller, 35 Montana Rose Curry, and 37 Ruth Hosey. Changing the dugouts as well this season for the Mariners Academy. Greg Harch taking over. Alan Tassis, of course, at the helm for Hills United. Meanwhile, Glendenning looking to steal a march inside the area. Didn't quite fall for her, though. The Mariners just about able to get it out of their own half for the first time so far in the opening couple of minutes. Familton going back to utilise Hosey. Now something cooking perhaps here for the Coast on the far touch line as the strike comes in. It's a really fizzing one to test the hands of Nicola Simmons, who needed a couple of bites to really bring it under her spell. As the rain continues to really sort of team down here on the Central Coast. The Hills custodian doing enough to keep it out. Tegan Jones gets us back underway. Here's Hamilton. Rides a couple of challenges before eventually having her heels clipped. 3 in the wall is the shout from Nicola Simmons. Well, they may in fact opt for 4 in the wall here. Interesting sort of position, the strike for Claire Denning. Certainly not beyond her capabilities. Will she look for the direct route or will she swing it in? She has gone directly into the wall. Liza Hamilton couldn't quite retrieve it. It was cleared into touch by Glendenning. Thrown short by Jones. All the way back to Hosey. It's forced all the way back to O'Brien. Might just fall kindly here for Peyton Scollay, who's looking to burst through centrally. Cleaning up was Berridge. Jones. Still Jones for the Mariners here. Good looking slide rule ball for Peyton Scollay again. Just bounces off her opposite number 6 in Brooke Hasty. And she'll win the throw as well, will Peyton Scollay. Hoisted in by Jones. Towards the edge of the area, little layoff as well to find Moller. Now it's O'Driscoll. Just a sighter from Natalia O'Driscoll. Just skewing off the outside of the boot of the new signing for the Mariners, of course, making her move down the F3 this season from the Jets. She's been impressive as well. 3 goals in 4 starts for Natalia O'Driscoll. Couldn't manage one there, though. As Hills now look to go straight back up the other end as it's rolled into the area. Rosenberg Kamazar just left it, as did Woolley, and it was comfortable for O'Brien. Moller and Glendenning tussling for it here, and Moller emerges with it, illegally so. Much to the chagrin of those in yellow and navy here. Fascinating contest there between Ava Moller and Rachel Glendenning. Sent forward from Aisling Davidson. Donaldson. Back with Davidson again. Utilising the width there was Berridge. And then pulled in by Kamazar to Woolley, who just got underneath that one. Good little passage in the build-up there from Hills United. Gemma Woolley at the end of it all, just lifting it over the crossbar in the end. As that rain sets back in here at Plume Park. It's Woolley, unable to advance any further forwards. O'Brien. Crossfield it goes for Jones. Hamilton rising. Couldn't quite keep it in play though. Jones. Inside towards O'Driscoll. And then Moller. Mariners Mariners just want to get their foot on the ball, string some passes together. Here's Brewster, and then swinging it out to the far touch line. O'Driscoll's continued her foray forwards. Couldn't pick out a teammate though. Now Woolley for Hills United. Only momentarily though. Denning on the far touch line. Excellent strength on display there from O'Driscoll to retain possession under the challenge. And now Hamilton twisting and turning and weaving and awaiting an opening. Brewster now for the Mariners. Hoisted long, good crossfield raking ball that to unlock the far touch line. The ball across the face comes. Just no one arriving for the Mariners. Hamilton chasing it down. Here's Glendenning for Hills, taken off her toe, stolen very nicely by Jones. Now it's Moller. Blocked off again. Hamilton will retrieve. Back to goal and awaiting some support here. O'Driscoll. We'll just have to go back and reload, recycle here, the Mariners. Gallieni for Hills. The Mariners just hemmed into their own half somewhat here. Brewster steps in nicely to halt the advance of Hills. Oh, will be a Hills throw in on that far touch line, which is proving incredibly difficult to see, or increasingly difficult to see over that far touch line, with the rain absolutely tumbling down here on the coast now. The strike coming in. Kiara O'Brien happy to watch that sail harmlessly wide in the end. Here's Brewster for the Mariners. Couldn't quite stick the pass though for Moller. Moller eventually retrieved it, although brought Berridge down in the process. Swept forwards, long into the area by Hasty, who was perhaps a little too hasty with her intention there. Comfortable playing for Kiara O'Brien at the end of it. Of course, a massive afternoon for the Central Coast Mariners in terms of women's football. Earlier today, they took on Melbourne City in their second leg semi-final. Down in Melbourne, of course, that one was so finely poised leading into it. 2 goals apiece after the first leg at Central Coast Stadium. A goal to fan favourite, of course, Izzy Gomez, sealing the result in the 121st minute. So the Mariners will be through to the grand final, as this one is hoisted high into the area, repelled initially. Here is Glendenning, taken off her toe very smartly indeed by Jones. That's, of course, Ninja A-League semi-final, or grand final, I should say, will be down in Melbourne next weekend. Date and time yet to be confirmed as the ball goes over the top towards Woolley. Montana Rose Curry left it initially and then cleared into touch. Brewster able to dig it out and find a teammate here in Peyton Scolle, who goes around the outside initially of Davidson. Davidson just about able to recover. Davidson will have it back as well. And just try and calm things down a little bit. The Mariners look very dangerous, very difficult to deal with on the break indeed, as Hasty looks to swing it out to the far touch line. Coolly played back to Kiara O'Brien. Towards Familton, but just a little too far ahead of Liza Familton. And now Hills with a chance, which is closed down before it even really got going. The Mariners want to go straight back up the other end as Familton turns around one. Rolled her defender ever so nicely there. Of course, the challenge came in from Helena Berridge. Familton made it look easy turning around her as if she wasn't even there initially, but for the covering defence of Brooke Hasty. Actually, just watching the replay on the monitor there, it was fantastic work from Berridge, who actually was able to get a toe on it to take it away from Familton. Meanwhile, Jones now on this near touch line, inside towards Familton. What a challenge that is from Aisling Davidson. As the rain continues to fall, we've just spotted a bit of lightning as well off in the distance behind us. Hopefully that's not going to have any sort of impact on play as Woolley. It's an emphatic sort of challenge from Montana Rose Curry. Just out into touch on this near touch line. Berridge will hoist it back in towards the head of Rosenberg Chemazar. Again, looking to utilise the wide outlets in Glendenning. He was awaiting the pass, which never reached her, I should say. Familton can't quite get it over halfway, though, when it's Rosenberg Chemazar trying to fashion something in the half space. Here is Glendenning. Just maybe lost her bearings somewhat momentarily there, Rachel Glendenning. Familton does well to ride a couple of challenges there and, in fact, link up with Brewster. Again, though, it's the Mariners who are seemingly hemmed back into their own half at the moment. Hoisted back in by Berridge. Rosenberg Chemazar and now Glendenning floating in the delivery. Straight into the arms of the awaiting Kiara O'Brien, who had long enough to see it. Gets us back underway quickly. Galliini couldn't stick the pass. And that's a wonderful looking turn in the middle of the park from Moller. Little dinked ball over the top as well. Oh. Flag is up on the far touchline. It looks like it will be a free kick in favour of the Mariners. In fact, was great work in the lead up from Ava Moller. Dance around a couple of challenges and link up with her teammates, and then on that far touchline it was Peyton Scollay who was dragged down by her opposite number 6 in Hasty. Peyton Scollay, who's been heavily involved so far in the opening exchanges here as it's floated in towards the head of Familton. Mariners will retrieve it. Jones. Brewster slaloming her way through a couple of challenges here. Brewster needs some support. Fizzed into the box towards Peyton Scollay. Dancing feet. Peyton Scollay scoring boots. Fantastic finish from Peyton Scollay to open the scoring here at Plume Park. She's having a belter of a season. That's her 7th goal already for Peyton Scollay in just 6 starts. On target once more here at Plume Park. The Mariners take the lead inside 19 minutes. Of course, she scored what proved to be the winner back in round 1 against SD Raiders. And she had that last gasp equaliser, very, very late goal. And that's, my apologies, no, it was a first goal against Inter Lions back in round 6. It wasn't the last gasp equaliser. The Mariners did go on to win it in the end. But she's proved to come up with important goals at important times throughout the course of the season, and that could well prove to be another one. The league leaders seemingly stunned here at Plume Park. Brewster just calming things down here. Passes straight to Helen Berridge on halfway though. Aisling Davidson. Across the back it goes for Hasty. Looks to sweep it out to the far touchline now. Buchanan giving chase. Unable to reach it though. Smartly cut out once again by Davidson. Glendenning, Davidson. Hills just happy to knock the ball around here, try and maintain some possession. Patience required to try and find openings here. Berridge. Again, a couple of Hills players waiting for a cross which never arrived. It was sort of halfway between Glendenning and Gemma Woolley. No one able to really attack it in the area that it went into. As we said, this one, of course, at the top of the broadcast, a replay of the 2023 semi-final. These two do have a number of chapters already written in their history against each other. The 2023 semi-final, of course, as we said, Mariners ultimately defeated on penalties that evening. Another cup game as well during the week in the Sapphire Cup between these two sides. Hills United running out victorious by 2-0, but it's the Mariners who hold the ascendancy here and looking good value for it too, courtesy of this player here, Peyton Scollay, with a fantastic reverse-looking pass to Ava Moller, who's halted only by the most timely of interventions by Aisling Davidson. Here's Jones. Pinballing off a few sets of legs there before it eventually reaches Donaldson, who's able to dig it clear. As far as Wooten. Overlapping here, or underlapping really, is Glendenning, and some challenge that, if you don't mind, from Brewster. Still they emerge with it though, through Wooten. Brewster again, well, she's in the thick of just about everything at the moment, Annalise Brewster, and no card forthcoming from the referee on this occasion, just a ticking off for Brewster. All action central midfielder. That first challenge was timed to perfection. Just having a look at the replay on the monitor here. The second one, well, perhaps not timed quite as well as the first. Got a good chunk of the ball, but got a very good chunk of the player on the way through as well. So Hills United free kick in an intriguing sort of area. Bella Donaldson standing over this one. Everyone behind the ball for the Mariners here, as this one is clipped in towards the far post and drawing an effort, which wasn't far away at all in the end, you know. Aisling Davidson just about with the captain's knock there. Kiara O'Brien pretty happy that she had her angles absolutely correct. Happy to watch that sail harmlessly wide in the end. Hasty. Well, unable to stick the pass. The Mariners clearing their lines, only as far as Davidson, who's under a little bit of pressure here, you know. Peyton Scollay applying that press. Ended up back with Nicola Simmons, who will send it back from whence it came. Hills looking to advance over halfway. Through Woolley. Again, passing lanes blocked off to great effect by the coast. Throw in, taken long this time, falls kindly for Woolley. Now racing forwards, bursting into the area just about was Rosenberg Shamazar. Denied again by a very, very timely intervention indeed. Combination of Hosey and Curry proving difficult to breach so far this evening. Well, discussions are plenty taking place out there on that far byline as to whether that should be a corner or a goal kick. It is, in fact, a Hills United corner, so a chance to wreak some havoc inside the area here as well. You can see the spray coming out as the corner was taken from that far corner as well. Such is the rainfall that we've had here on the coast. But it's Glendenning now on the near touch line. Looking to go to the byline here, Rachel Glendenning. Good strength as well to ride the challenge. Striding forward is Berridge. Even better, just strength on display here from the Mariners defender to ride her challenge, but it falls kindly for Glendenning, I should say. She'll get the second ball as well, Glendenning. Busy so far in the opening 28 or so minutes here at Plume Park. Hills United will have another corner for their troubles. Rosenberg, Shemazar across to take. Again, just about everyone behind the ball here for the Coast. Corner is swung in towards the near post. The ball pop back out for the corner taker, who will float it in. O'Brien gets a fist to it. It pops out as far as Glendenning. Now Hasty. They're forced to go back across the pitch now. Buchanan, who will just send it long. All too long for Hills United, though. Regulation take there for Kiara O'Brien, who was called into action just a moment ago from that corner. Did well to get a fist to it as well in a very crowded sort of penalty area. Here is O'Brien. Good vision as well to pick out Jones on this near touch line. Better feet from Jones as well to dance around the initial challenge. Aisling Davidson reading the pass though. Across to effect the clearance. Here's Brewster. Good turn. Make that two good turns. Took her away from Shemazar and Berridge respectively. Tussle out there, falling in favour of Woolley for Hills United. Now it's Rosenberg. Shemazar blocked. Still they come here. Hills United on the edge of the area, brought down as well. A very dangerous sort of position indeed. So tussle between Brewster, again, so heavily involved in just about everything physical out there at the moment. And Ellen Rosenborg, Shemazar, which has won the free kick for Hills United, right on the edge of halfway. And Rosenberg Shemazar has just walked away and left this one, so it looks like it will be Bella Donaldson, I should say, to take the set piece. Kiara O'Brien will have to ensure that her wall is set just so. There will be at least 4 in the wall. Bella Donaldson strikes. Had the power but not the direction, not the up and down required to pose any real sort of threat on Kiara O'Brien's goal there. And so we tick into just over the half hour mark here at Plume Park, with the hosts in the ascendancy. The Mariners leading, courtesy of Peyton Scollay, who's been fantastic this evening, leading the line for the Coasts, of course, as we said. Her 7th goal of the season, proving the difference here so far. You may hear the cheers coming across the broadcast there. I can assure you it wasn't quite from this game. There is another game being played in NPL men's under-20s action here at Plume Park currently, and it sounds like Spirit FC have just gone ahead in that one. Our focus is very firmly here in League One women's action, though, of course. I know the Mariners are looking to get a bit of revenge, perhaps, over their Sapphire Cup exits during the week at the hands of their very opponents here tonight in Hills United. And looking good value for their lead so far as well. It's driven forward towards Scollay again. Just a little too far ahead of her, and Aisling Davidson, who's been resolute at the heart of defence so far this evening for Hills. Cutting out the pass. Glendenning, again, another tussle between her and Jones. Fascinating battle between the two of them continues. Donaldson. Woolley, strike is blocked. Good feet from Gallieni to take her away from two Mariners players, and the cross comes in towards Gemma Woolley. That's a good piece of defending from Hosey to get her body in there ahead of Woolley. Ruth Hosey not giving the Hills United number 7 an inch, as she would be well counselled. Berridge taken off her toe, though, by Hamilton, who was racing across to effect the challenge. Couldn't quite keep it in play, though. Liza Hamilton, who is another one who's having a brilliant season so far for the Mariners. 5 goals last year. She's already managed to eclipse that with 6 this year as well. 2 in her last 2 matches in the League One women's competition. Peyton Smollett has just overtaken her atop the goal scoring chart for the Mariners, but it's Hills United on the march forward, bursting into the area. Gallieni! Well, not far away from Bianca Gallieni, flashing across the face of Kiara O'Brien's goal. And that's perhaps just about as close as Hills United have come so far in the opening 35 or so minutes here at Blue. Now, Mariners, again, just trying to play their way out from the back. Brave or foolhardy, I'll let you decide. How's your touch from Liza Hamilton? Brilliant, she says. Now O'Driscoll looking to opt centrally. Ava Moller giving chase. Cleared eventually by Davidson. Only as far as Jones, though, for the Mariners. We'll go back to O'Brien, who, well, second-guessed herself and played it straight out to the feet of Woolley, who will strike. Not far away at all from Gemma Woolley. I'll tell you what, Kiara O'Brien nearly playing her way into trouble there. Nearly forced to scramble back across and make a save. The strike at the end of it from Gemma Woolley was just wide, but Kiara O'Brien had to be absolutely certain that she had her angles correct. Hills United maybe just growing into this one with about 10 or so minutes to go until the interval. Here is Woolley. Couldn't reach it though. Mariners defence holding firm once more. Rosenberg Chemazar is fouled on the halfway line. It seems like the rain may have just subsided here somewhat at Plume Park. Hopefully the curse of the commentator not striking on that one. Now, Natalia O'Driscoll's been forced to head across to the Mariners bench to receive some running repairs here. So the Mariners will be forced to play with 10, temporarily at least, as the free kick is swung in towards Gallieni. Back out to Donaldson. Now back with Davidson. Hills United Trying to move it around and try and stretch the Mariners out of shape somewhat. Again, it's Jones holding firm in that tussle with Glendenning. And then it runs away from Berridge for Hills United, so the Mariners will retain it by way of throw-in. Possession thrown away though. Here's Glendenning for Hills. Now, Chemazar, Rosenberg Chemazar rides one challenge, still striding forward here. Little reverse ball as well for Woolley! Oh, they're knocking on the door, aren't they, Hills United? Gemma Woolley, that's not the first time that she's come close this evening. Proving a real handful for the Mariners defenders to deal with at the moment. Didn't test Kiara O'Brien though, and how's the feet there once again from Jones to get around the outside of Glendenning. Sent straight forward though, away to Gallieni, and then Woolley, well, half-hearted appeals for the free kick after the challenge from Montana Rose Curry, but I'll tell you what, it's just a good footballing challenge. O'Driscoll, who's back on the pitch now and has lost a shin pad. Straight back into the action. Claire Denning trying to chase that one down though, but Woolley's able to dig it out and finds Wooten. Wooten spins and turns into the area and looks for the pullback for Chemazar! Ellen Rosenberg Chemazar levels proceedings here at Plume Park. About 5 or so minutes to go until half time. We did just say they've been knocking on the door, and the equaliser no less than their endeavours so far have deserved. No one picked up the run of Ellen Rosenberg Chemazar, and she was able to finish into pretty much an empty net there. We're all square, one apiece. Well, the Mariners certainly started the brighter of the two throughout the contest, but Hills United have absolutely well and truly found a great foothold in this one now. Grown into the game as the minutes ticked on. But what will Moller have to say about it? She looks to utilise Denning on the far touchline, and Hamilton's racing after this one as well. Well done, Brooke Hasty, just shepherding that one over the byline. The momentum seemingly shifting in this one. How long will it last though? Here's Glendenning for Hills United. She'll continue to look to push that pendulum of momentum in Hill's favour. Davidson. Hasty will drive it forward on the far touch line. Buchanan giving chase. Across from Buchanan. Well, she had Jordan Drysdale for company. Jordan Drysdale happy to see us out, and Hamilton will look to turn around the challenge now of Berridge. Inside it goes for Brewster. It's taken off the toe of Annalise Brewster though. Rosenberg Chemazar not shirking her defensive duties. Woolley, who just dropped off the line momentarily to get on the ball. Easy cut out that for Jones. Here's Ruth Hosey. Montana Rose Curry Claire Denning now. No avenues afforded in front of her. And now Gemma Woolley again striding forwards. Glendenning still going here. Rachel Glendenning bursting into the area. Glendenning, good save from Kiara O'Brien, and she held it as well. The Mariners look to go straight up the other end immediately. Familton. Drysdale. Familton, movement in front is Brewster, who will receive it as well in a handy-looking pocket of space. O'Driscoll, well, she's given it straight to her opposite number 8. Easy pick out that for Donaldson. She'll have it back here too. As we tick into that final minute of the regulation 45 here at Plume for the first stanza. Wouldn't imagine there'd be any more than the sort of standard regulation 1 or 2 minutes added on at the end of this. It's been pretty open so far. Nothing to stop start, certainly nothing untoward. O'Driscoll, now Denning. Mariners can't advance any further than halfway though. And now Denning has to give chase. It's Woolley with a strike. Straight at Kiara O'Brien. And we'll just pluck that out of the air. No interest in playing out short this time from O'Brien. Sent long. Rolls off the leg of Buchanan. Back to Hasty. Davidson. Near touchline is Berridge. And Donaldson. Well, that's perhaps not the pass that she was initially intending to make. But it sort of worked out in a very roundabout sort of way. Now with Hasty, well, she may have played her way into trouble here. Hasty, because the Mariners are bearing down on goal. Could it be 2? It is, you know. The mistake from Brooke Hasty is punished with aplomb. And the Mariners restore their advantage. Peyton Scollay at the double. And her red-hot form continues. Goal number 8 of the season. Already for Peyton Scollay. A tidy finish as well. She kept her composure, showing maturity beyond her years there. And fired that one into the top corner. What a time to score that is as well. Right on the stroke of half-time. And we spoke about that pendulum of momentum here in this match of the round for League One Women's. Has it perhaps swung back in favour of the hosts? They'll certainly want to try and manage this one out until half-time. And, well, mission accomplished in that sense. The Mariners restored their advantage right on the stroke of half-time thanks to Peyton Scollay, who also opened the scoring earlier in the half. It was Ellen Rosenberg-Chamazar who equalised proceedings not long ago for Hills United, but they couldn't retain parity. And that's how it stands at the interval here at Plume Park on the Central Coast between the Mariners and Hills United in this League One Women's match of the round here in round 11. We're off for a short break, of course. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back for the second stanza in about 15 minutes' time.
little supporter section, is it?
No VAR, though.
Yeah, no
Pure football. We'll take it.
Yeah, that's about how they come.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, that's right. A very warm welcome indeed back to Plume Park here on the Central Coast for round 11 of the League One New South Wales Women's match of the rounds between the Central Coast Mariners and Hills United. Mariners to get us underway for the second stanza here at Plume Park, holding a 2-1 advantage over their opponents this evening, courtesy of a brace to Peyton Scollay, who continues her vein of absolutely red-hot form. 45 minutes of action to come. A victory, of course, could potentially see the Mariners rise as high as third on the table, depending on the outcome of matches involving Marconi, South Coast Flame and St George FC. Hills United will be, of course, desperate for victory today to try and maintain that buffer between they and the second place SD Raiders. But it's at the moment, it's the hosts in the ascendancy. Looks like we have seen a change at half-time as well. We'll try and bring you confirmation on that when we can. Jess Garrett, of course, has entered the fray, the number 2. Gallieni as Drysdale for company. Drysdale does well to win it initially, but it only pops out as far as Donaldson. Chemazar, Rosenberg, Chemazar unable to advance on the far touchline. Woolley couldn't retrieve it either. Clearance from Ruth Hosey. Rocketing straight back off the back of Gemma Woolley and out for just a goal kick. Lofted forward, but Brooke Hasty able to bring it under her spell and link up with Davidson. Across the back it goes. Now Woolley. Something brewing perhaps here via Gallieni. Glendenning. She'll win the throw on that far touchline. Rosenberg Chemazar on the edge of the area. Has support. Jones couldn't quite affect the clearance. Woolley will strike. And win the first corner of the half. Strike off the... or taking a touch off the legs, I should say, of Montana Rose Curry. Looks like that change at half-time. Natalia O'Driscoll, I suspect, was the one who's come off for the Mariners as the corner is swung away, again towards the head of the Hills United captain in Davidson, who's unable to really guide her header goalwards. Came close in the first stanza, of course, from a similar sort of set-piece situation. Kiara O'Brien will send again all the short options forwards. Was originally intercepted by Gallieni. Scolle just about emerges with it. Into touch on this near touch line via Donaldson. Drysdale to hoist it back into play. Jordan Drysdale. Now Garrett. Head up and scanning, assessing the options in front. Plays square to Familton, who just rolls away from her defender. Now, Ava Moller. Take it off the toe of Moller, though, and here's Glendenning. Forced back to Davidson, and in turn all the way back to Simmons. As that rain sets back in here on the coast, the pitch is held up. Very well considering the circumstances. Drysdale looking to slide one forward for Familton, who weaves her way through traffic, going past 1 and 2, and then forced to turn and await support. However, the flag going up in favour of Hills United. Familton asking the question. Hasty and Davidson Davidson now to launch it forwards. Good looking run this from Glendenning. Apologies, that may have actually been Helena Berridge on that far touchline. Regardless, it breaks here for the Mariners in the form of Jess Garrett, who's able to release Drysdale here. Has Hamilton utilising the width. We'll look to release her as well. Good looking ball that from Drysdale. Hamilton, one touch to set herself, second touch to cross. Cut out by Nicola Simmons in goal for Hills United. Berridge hoisting one forwards. Under a bit of pressure there. Defending well. And Garrett, who's under even more pressure and digging it out ever so well to find Drysdale, and then Brewster. And now Hamilton on this near touch line. Skipping inside of Gallieni, and then away from Donaldson. And then looking for the return pass. Hamilton! What a save that is from Simmons to deny Liza Hamilton what looked like a certain goal for the Mariners' third. Well, the first real chance the Mariners have had in this second stanza. Goalkeeper coming up trumps there to keep Hills United very much in this contest. The Mariners look to go forward once again immediately. Peyton Scollay bundled off it by Jess Wooten, who might be in a little bit of trouble here for kicking the ball away after the fact as well. Just a ticking off from the referee on this occasion. We've certainly seen action taken in those sorts of situations over the last couple of seasons in particular. Montana Rose Curry to hoist it forwards. Nodded clear initially, but only as far as Peyton Scollay. My apologies, that was Moller. Ball was intended for Scollay afterwards. Now it's Brewster though. Hamilton giving chase, but Buchanan there first and forced to just send it over the touchline on this near side. Hamilton again straight into touch on this near touch line via Hasty. Hoisted back in by Drysdale. Now Brewster. Again, how's the strength on display from Annalise Brewster. Drysdale and then Garrett with a bit of an up and under. It's perhaps intended for Hamilton, but didn't quite stay in play. Davidson, and across the back it goes. Berridge. Glendenning. Just ran away from her though. Now Jess Garrett. Good looking ball lift for Brewster. Brooke Hasty stepping in to take control of the situation. And then in turn trying to find Rachel Glendenning on the far touch line, but it's just a little bit behind the Hills United number 17. Who is Montana Rose Curry. Now Ava Moller. Well, possession you would feel in the opening exchanges of the second half here, certainly favouring the hosts. Can they do something with it here? Garrett looks to advance over halfway. They're forced back. Montana Rose Curry, and now Hamilton steps inside. Looks to play that diagonal ball. Denning was racing after the pass. Didn't quite reach it. It was cut out effectively by Davidson. Drysdale just left a little bit short of Hamilton there, but she's able to recover. And then Montana Rose Curry. This is an interesting sort of looking ball here for Scollay. Denning nearly reaching it as well, but for the sliding challenge from Aisling Davidson. Donaldson unable to retain it. Was it dangerous ball from Montana Rose Curry? Nearly sets Peyton Scollay through one-on-one once again. Aisling Davidson at the heart of defence for Hills United this afternoon, has been so heavily involved. A real sort of leader by example, Aisling Davidson. As Woolley looks to just dig it out there for Glendenning. Now Gallieni back to goal. Glendenning. Still coming here, Rachel Glendenning. Now Beveridge to hoist it into the area towards Woolley. Defended once again by the Mariners. And swept out to this near touch line for Hamilton, who will look to link up with Jess Garrett here. Hamilton continues her foray forward and will receive the pass from Garrett. Forced to twist and turn to evade a couple of challenges. Cleared just about, and Montana Rose Curry has just lost it momentarily. Ruth Hosey stepping in to take control of the situation. Now Hamilton looking to drive forward again. Denning. Shot is blocked initially by Beveridge. Or Berridge, I should say. My apologies. United now just looking to keep their foot on the ball for a moment. Berridge striding forwards towards Rachel Glendenning. Berridge, Glendenning running out of real estate on that far touchline though. Rachel Glendenning. Crossfield pass intended for Jordan Drysdale, but all too close to Buchanan. Maybe a chance to fashion something here through Gallieni. Glendenning, well, losing her bearings just momentarily there. Rachel Glendenning allowing the Mariners to steal in once again. Looking to play their way out from the back once more. If they can get through this first couple of lines of press from Hills United, it might pay dividends. Not if Aisling Davidson has anything to say about it though. Coming across to cover with great effect. As we tick through the hour mark, just about half an hour or so remaining here in this match of the round at Plume Park between the Mariners and Hills United. Mariners hold that slender advantage at the moment, and they do have a player down in back play as well. Just looking to see what's happened on the monitor here. I can see that Annalise Brewster was just feeling something in her knee or her hamstring just a moment ago. It is her indeed who was stricken on the turf, and she has hobbled off the field as well. So the Mariners perhaps just down to 10 for the time being. We'll bring you confirmation on any changes in just a moment. As we are back underway. Hasty, Davidson. Jess Garrett for the Mariners now. Looking to burst through a couple of challenges, able to link up with Moller. She'll get the return pass as well, Garrett. Berridge able to pick up on the pass. Now Hills may be playing their way into trouble again as they look to play their way out from the back. Well, Rosenberg Chemazar has done well enough. Is Hasty. Now Buchanan for Hills United. Jones again forced into some defending and doing well, standing firm. Mariners appealing for the handball just inside their own half, which is forthcoming. They launch it forward quickly. Twisting and turning on the far touchline, then awaiting support. Loose pass is easily picked out by Gemma Woolley though. Ruth Hosey, I should say, my apologies, couldn't quite retain it, but she will win it back eventually. Now, Montana Rose Curry. It will come now to Drysdale. Familton. Oh, cheeky little nutmeg that from Liza Familton as well to take her away from Buchanan. Couldn't quite make the pass stick though. Moller will look to retrieve it. Cleared at the last available by Davidson. Liza Familton has been fantastic out there, but Rachel Glendenning's won it on the other far touchline. Only momentarily though. Just Garrett stepping in to steal us away. And good news for the Mariners though, Annalise Brewster is back up and about. Back to her feet. Taking her place back in the heart of midfield alongside Jess Garrett. Greg Hart just asking his players to press higher, show a little bit more intensity, a bit more desire. Hills United again just trying to force the issue, but all too much on the pass. Oh, just sort of ricocheted off the foot of Ilan Rosenberg-Chemezar. Behind just for a goal kick at the end of it. The Mariners this time will look to play their way out from the back, but may have played their way into a little bit of trouble of their own. Well, not for long. Brewster. And then taken off the toe of Brewster. Sliding challenge is full-blooded. A proper footballing challenge indeed. Pops out kindly for Gallieni, but she's unable to make any real sort of headway. And now it's Hamilton twisting and turning this way and that and beating 1 and 2. Finding a teammate as well there, Hamilton. But the move breaks down. She came close, of course, earlier in the half, did Liza Hamilton. Denied only by a top save by Nicola Simmons in a one-on-one situation. Keeps this one so finely poised. Just a goal in it. If you are just joining us, rounding out your Sunday afternoon on the Football New South Wales channels, I should say. My apologies. Pleasure to have your company as always, of course. League One women's match of the round here is Gallieni. Can't retain possession. Now Brewster able to stride forwards. Here's Scollay, who's been the difference so far today. Scollay trying to burst through. And just a coming together between the two number 6s there. Sees that one break down as the danger started looming large. Turned around the corner by Woolley, but easily retrieved. At least momentarily, though. Hosie's turned it over. Now Woolley. Something cooking perhaps here for Hills. The ball was intended for the number 14, of course. And now Woolley back to goal. Turns, strikes, blocked off initially. Rosenberg-Chemezar unable to free her feet enough to get a strike away. The Mariners survive once more. Here is Rosenberg-Chemezar. Looks to just clip one over the top, inventive towards Gallieni, who is found offside. As Hills United will look to go to their bench. Looks like Helen Berridge will be taking her leave for the evening. Trying to bring you confirmation of that change. I suspect it's Portia Berrios. A couple of changes here for Hills United, in fact. Monique Holder enters the fray as well. As Hills look to chase the game here. Hamilton is taken off her toe by Rosenberg-Chemezar. And then picked out to great effect by Ruth Hosey. Cutting out the pass as the danger loomed. And again, it's the two 6s tussling in Scollay and Hasty. Hasty just about winning out. Here's Gallieni. Just look to settle it down. And, well, Hasty maybe just lost her bearings momentarily. Eliciting a few cheers and groans from the crowd in front of her there at Plume Park. On the far touchline now, though, it's Rachel Glendenning for Hills. Swings the cross in. Repelled initially by Montana Rose Curry. Jess Garrett now stepping in. to halt any further advance from Hills United. Turning it into touch though. Hoisted back into play for Holder. To the feet of Wooten, who gets the strike away. And it's not far away. Kiara O'Brien seemed confident enough that she had her angles correct. Happy to watch that flash wide of her left hand upright in the end. The Mariners certainly started the half the brighter of the two, but it's Hills United now who, with some 18 or so minutes to go here at Plume Park, may just have grabbed a hold of the momentum. Well cut out by Gallieni. Now Glendenning. Now Holder towards the top of the box. Wooten twisting, turning. The opening never came. Garrett steals in and finds Peyton Scollay, who's got one defender to run at here. Peyton Scollay looks to go around the outside and stepped in to great effect by Buchanan. Brewster will retrieve it for the Mariners. Jones, Garrett just keeps it moving, helps it on to Montano Rose Curry. Near touchline is Drysdale. Gallieni nearly stole in there, but found its way all the way out to Drysdale, and now Liza Familton. Ruth Hosey. Pass is picked out. Brewster will steal back in to win it back for the Coast, though. Good looking ball this as well for Moller, who is eventually brought down after the ball is gone, but the initial challenge was enough to negate any potential sort of incident there. Just a corner at the end of it. Well, it was an unconventional sort of challenge from Brooke Hasty, in all fairness, to turn it behind for a corner, but if it's effective and it works, may as well consider it conventional, as the corner is swung in. No one in yellow able to reach it. Sent back into the area by Drysdale. Brewster competing for it. Drysdale couldn't quite win it back, and now Gallieni on the near touch line. Has Brewster for company. Brewster is touch tight to Gallieni, and, well, a little too much so for the referee's liking. We have seen another change for the Mariners in the meantime. Matilda Gallagher as well. As Davidson clips it towards the edge of the penalty area. Holder looking for Glendenning, and it will reach her. Swung back in the direction of Holder. Finds Rosenberg Chemezar, who gets the strike away on the turn, but perhaps not quite the connection that she may have hoped for. Certainly not quite enough behind it to really test the Mariners' custodian there, and Kiara O'Brien. Again, Scollay and Davidson tussling. What a battle that's been. As the Mariners again look to burst forward, Gallagher couldn't quite stick the pass. Hills United will go to their bench. Once more, another double change coming here for Alan Tuss's side. Gallieni will be one of those taking her leave. One of those entering the fray, Ellen Berrios. Try and bring you confirmation on that other change in just a moment. Of course, we've seen Riani Plummer enter the fray, of course, as well as Monique Holder. And it is one of those substitutes who's able to emerge with it centrally through Holder. Wide it goes towards Wooten. Tussle on that far touch line as well. Just a Hills United throw at the end of it. Rosenberg Chamazar and again Brewster involved in just about all and sundry this evening. Will win it back for the home side. Whipped out to this near touch line. Hamilton will wait to receive it and does. And now Garrett. Into the channel it goes for Moller, who wants to isolate her defender here. Zoe Murdoch, of course, was the other change, who Moller was just running at there. Jess Garrett now for the Mariners. Driven sort of delivery, searching for Gallagher. All too far ahead of the Mariners winger, though. Driven long once more. Montana Rose Curry didn't quite measure that pass correctly, though. Intended for Jones, perhaps. Just out over that far touchline. Effectively handing possession back for Hills through Holder. And then swept forward into the area. O'Brien. Spilt initially by Kiara O'Brien. Drysdale on hand to clean up. Fancy O'Brien may have just been able to get there at the second bite, but had a couple of Hills United players breathing down their necks there. No sense taking any sort of chances as we enter the final knockings of this one here at Plume Park. Corner is swept in towards the near post and all the way behind for just a goal kick. As Hills United will look to make their final change of the evening. Buchanan will take her leave as they go on in search of a winner here. Portia Berrios, who's just entered the fray in what is a very attacking change indeed for Hills United. Of course, as we said, chasing the game. As they look to maintain that advantage atop the table. Rosenberg Chemazar unable to advance. They're throwing just about everything in the kitchen sink at this one. Hills United clipped forward again by Davidson. Racing after it on the far touch line. Glendenning is one of them. Tegan Jones for the Mariners again, who's put in a very industrious shift on the left-hand side of that back four for the hosts. And it's not over yet either. Turn from Matilda Gallagher. Well defended by Plummer. Out into touch again on that far touchline. Mariners win the throw in their defensive third. The cry of box them in, emerging from the Hills United bench. They might just look to steal a couple of yards here, Tegan Jones. And they'll emerge clear with it as well. Only momentarily though. Holder couldn't quite retain possession. Davidson will pick it back up. Now Holder. It's a bit frenetic. It's a bit chaotic. Hamilton able to clear for now. Davidson's continued her foray forward here, leading by example, the captain. Now Holder. Fizzed in towards the edge of the area. Rosenberg-Chemas now. Holder again. Anywhere will do for the Mariners. Here's Ellen Berrios though for Hills. Sweeping in the cross towards the back post. All the way behind. Rachel Glendenning will race after it to retrieve it, understanding the urgency of the assignment. Kiara O'Brien sending all the options forward once again as she looks to put a foot through it, but it's cut out once again by Hills. Played into the area by Portia Berrios, but Kiara O'Brien alert to the danger. The kick is somewhat skewed, but finds Hamilton. Drysdale. To just go back and maintain possession here. Hamilton just ran away from her a little bit though, allowing Zoe Murdoch to steal in. Montana Rose Curry effectively covering, stepping in there to turn it into touch. Hoisted back in by Murdoch. Good strength on the edge of the area from Jess Garrett, and then Brewster. Now Scollay carrying it forward out of her own half. Looking for the return pass as well from Moller, and she will receive it. Peyton Scollay, well, guess who's on scene to clear up? It's Aisling Davidson. Who's been absolutely sensational this evening at the heart of that Hills United defence. But it's the Mariners who still hold that advantage as we tick into the final 5 minutes here at Plume Park in this League One match of the round. It's been a fascinating battle in the second stanza. Even if we don't quite have the goals to show for it. Individual battles all over the park between these two sides, and we're not done yet. Who will have the final say? It's Wooten holding it up and awaiting support, which does arrive in the form of Murdoch, who couldn't quite measure the cross. She'll drop back and retrieve it here though, Murdoch. Hasty will send it long. Portia Berrios racing after this one. Couldn't quite sort her feet out in time to get the strike away. It closed down around her very quickly. Combination of Montana Rose Curry and Ruth Hosey defending to great effect as the cross again is fizzed in across the penalty area. And just no one arriving to attack it in time. Greg Harch will use the opportunity to go to his bench. Ava Moller will take her leave for the afternoon. Who's linked up well with Peyton Scolle on numerous occasions this evening. As the Mariners get us back underway, half-hearted appeals for a foul throw. Nothing doing. Hills look to fashion something again. Portia Berrios racing after this one. And again, the Mariners repel us once more. Rosenberg Shemazar, sliding challenge. Every challenge being cheered by those in yellow and navy. This time it was Montana Rose Curry, who again has been very, very good at the heart of defence for the Mariners, and they're going to have some more defending to do here as the corner is swung in deep. Rising again. Well, this time, in fact, rising was Jess Wooten, but couldn't guide her header on target. As time ticks on in this one. Here at Plume Park, we enter the final couple of minutes. The Mariners look to soak up every single second that they can. Pass was just left a little behind. But Brianna Myers, who of course has entered the fray in place of Ava Moller. Portia Berrios all the way back to Hasty. Hasty drives it forward. Skidded off the turf just in front of Kiara O'Brien. Perhaps not as simple as one may think, even though it was effectively straight at her. When they skid off the turf just in front of you like that, they can make things a little bit interesting. Again, Hasty sending it forwards. Again, sent back from whence it came by the Mariners. Myers is making a move forward in the middle. It won't reach her though. The strike comes from Gallagher. And Nicola Simmons will take it and release it quickly. Jess Garrett sends it forward again with interest. Simmons will just pick up on it now and send everyone forward. Foul awarded for the contact from Montana Rose Curry. As Wooten look to turn around her, the Mariners will look to try and bring everyone just about behind the ball. Hills United, conversely, sending just about everyone forward. Through the regulation 90 here at Plume Park. Fizzed in by Hasty towards the penalty spot. It's Davidson. Little layoff for Holder. Blocked off. Appeals for a handball from the Hills United faithful. Quickly waved away by the referee. Looked like it cannoned off the leg of Jess Garrett. Sent forward once more towards Rosenberg Shemazar. We nearly picked up on the scraps there. Portia Berrios now tussling. It's going to be a frenetic closing to this one here. It's Murdoch sprays it wide. Another corner for Hills United. Another chance to create absolute havoc in the box if they get the delivery right. They'll look to swing this one away towards the penalty spot. Nodded forward once again. Davidson rising and unable to guide it towards goal. Or words to the effect of, I don't care where it goes, just get it out, coming forward from the Mariners' defensive lines. At this stage of the game, absolutely makes sense to me. Kiara O'Brien urged to get on with it by the referee. And sends it out into touch directly in front of our broadcast position here. Murdoch hoists it back into play. Portia Berrios now racing after it. Clipped in towards the 6-yard box. Pops out for Davidson. Can she sort of feet out? She can indeed, you know. Taken off the toe of Berrios and now Holder. The Mariners trying to force a way through, and the free kick will be given in favour of the Mariners. Looked like Holder may have just reached out and grabbed a Mariners player's foot. It won't matter because that will be that here on the Central Coast. The Mariners secure victory over Hills United. Hosts this evening, 3 points you would feel nothing less than they deserved. Hills United, to their credit, certainly made it very interesting indeed towards the latter knockings of this one. But the Mariners able to get it done. Goals to Peyton Scollay in the first half were the difference for the Coast today. Absolute pleasure having your company, as it always is, of course, on the Football New South Wales channels. That's a wrap for this weekend from me, Pete Pryor. It's bye for now.